Yo, good evening, fellow acolytes. This is Tyrus the Warlock, and man, I'm pissed the hell off. Good morning. Good afternoon. Clear Capital TV, good to see you. Uncle Tom, you early. Good to see you. Man, guys, the State of the Union address, we all know it's a cheerleading event. We all know every single president rolled through with the State of the Union speech. It's a cheerleading event and it's a catalyst for what we're talking about today. But oh my God, are y'all happy? My fellow Americans, are y'all happy right now? My fellow men in this country, y'all happy right now? If you were to perish in the next month, everything you got going on, if you got a family like me, if you were to perish in the next month, would your family be able to rebound correctly? Would they be able to sustain themselves without you? Do you trust that the systems in place in our country today is functional enough for them to make it, for them to figure it out? I bet for a lot of you, the answer is no. I bet for a lot of you, that would scare you shitless if something happened to you right now. I know it will for me. And I feel like I've done a lot. I've laid a lot of infrastructure down for my family. But man, if this is the direction of our country, guys, we got a
Want to do some work? Want to do some work tonight? Huh? Want to get it in tonight? Huh?
what? This is going to be a big, big problem, guys. Our president stood up there on stage and threatened war against a country he bombed last year and claimed he handled. Y'all remember that? June, July, summer last year. We bombed Iran's nuclear facility. We obliterated them. His words, they're all words, cheerleading, all that shit. And now here we are, 8 months later. Iran better come to a deal soon, or it's going to be bad news. Well, damn, man. Is Barron Trump going to get deployed if we go to a war with Iraq? No. You think Don Jr. or Eric or Ivanka going to get deployed? No. You think any of them are going to have any skin in the game? Nope. You know what? Their only skin in the game, guys, is if there's a resort for them to build. Just like Gaza. You see, I'm up in the State of the Union speech lying about Gaza again, right? Lying about every single thing going on in the Middle East right now, lying about how many wars he freaking ended. By the way, he didn't end any of them. Think about it, guys. He claimed he ended the 12-day war in Israel and Iran against Israel and Iran. And yet we are talking about Iran. Right? We done bombed Yemen again. We done bombed Iran. We done bombed Gaza. We done bombed Nigeria. We done bombed Venezuela and their boats. We done bombed Colombia and some of their boats. I can't even remember all the other conflicts we're involved in. This is the exact opposite of what he claimed he was going to deliver to us. He was going to be the anti-war candidate. Y'all remember that? And yet we are in more conflicts now than we were under Biden. You can say whatever you want about Israel's pulling our strings and all this, but at the end of the day, don't we always say we're the most powerful country in the world? We're the most powerful military in the world? Well, that means that responsibility is on us, because whatever you want to blame on any other country, that's our taxpayer money funding that shit. We got the right to say whether or not they get that funded. And guess what we've done despite everything that country has done? We keep funding them. All the atrocities that Israel has been committed. And guess what we as Americans do? We have become the villains in the world, guys. We have a president who loves dictators like Kim Jong-un, like Vladimir Putin. You see, he couldn't even criticize Vladimir Putin in Russia. He mentioned the Ukrainian war for 2 seconds and pivoted right back to Iran because he feels like he could flex up on Iran, right? You see, you got to check guys like Donald Trump because they always feel like they can pick on the guys that's smaller than them. They never pick on the guys that's equal to them. And what's crazy is when you think about it from the foreign policies perspective, from the big picture perspective, guys, Donald Trump is way more powerful than Vladimir Putin. Ukraine is pushing them back with U.S. hand-me-downs. There is nothing Vladimir Putin right now could drop on Donald Trump that would be any more damaging to his reputation that already exists. And so Donald Trump could easily flex up on Vladimir Putin, and he still won't. But you see, he'll pick on smaller countries like Venezuela. You see, he ain't got a problem going against sending troops to like Nigeria, sending airstrikes in Nigeria and stuff like that. He ain't got a problem constantly threatening Iran. But when it comes to somebody who can actually fight back, somebody who thinks, oh, you got to think twice, all of a sudden, there's no heat for that. And you know what, guys? This is a sign of our country because our country does a lot of saber rattling, but we really not about anything. We don't make shit in this country. I know I'm going all over the place, guys, but let's remember something here. We started a global trade war last year, and all the countries that we went against decided to link up with each other. Y'all understand that? We are the great unifier in all the wrong ways. We managed to get China, Japan, and South Korea, 3 countries that hate each other. Now, guess what they're doing, guys? Trade deals, trade agreements, trade negotiations. All because of us. Our northern border, Canada, guys, they've been disrespected so much, they're actively boycotting our products. And they're also getting closer with our largest economic rival, China. It seems like the global trade war has the exact opposite effect. Instead of bringing our economic allies or economic and military allies closer to us, it has driven them further away. Dora, I will say we, because even though I'm not a Trump supporter, we as a collective in this country elected that dude. So that's on us. We, the voters, put him in power, whether you voted for it or you sat your ass at home or you voted for Kamala. But at the end of the day, this is who won the election. This is who our representative is. And so for the next, 3 years, that's our representative, whether we like it or not. So yes, it is we. Because we still paying our taxes to fund all this bullshit, ain't we? So let's be clear, man. Max Ray says that's great for foreign countries while he's fucking up America. Think about it, guys. We started a whole beef with our European allies over Greenland. Greenland, a country, by the way, we already have a military pact with that we could build whatever base we want, whenever we want. If we want a trade deal for some of their resources, they've been told us to have at it. But I'm not going to let my MAGA friends off the hook, because you remember what you MAGA guys told me? Oh, Trump's just trolling. He's just saying all that to own the libs. He don't really mean it. Mm. A guy's calling the Danish prime minister getting into a screaming match to own the libs. He's sending JD Vance and his wife to Greenland to try to generate some, try to get some support. That's owning the libs. That's just trolling. He's constantly threatened to raise tariffs on the countries that don't go along with his Greenland nonsense. Is that just joking? Our European allies didn't take it as a joke. Greenland didn't take it as a joke. It seems like the only people who really think Donald Trump is joking all the time is MAGA. But I wonder, MAGA, was you still laughing when he did that crypto rug pull right before he became president? You know, that Trump coin, that meme, that Melania coin. Oh, I know that crypto rug pull hurt y'all, bro. Oh, and it's been nonstop ever since. Yo, if you're a farmer right now, are you getting what you wanted? Not only has Trump sent $40 billion to Argentina, we're also purchasing our cattle, beef from Argentina that's hurting our cattle ranchers right here in America. By the way, our farmers, I ain't gonna let y'all off the hook either, because you voted for it. This is what you wanted. You wanted Trump in the global trade war that he was talking about in the State of the Union speech, and he was trashing his own Supreme Court over ruling against him. The farmers in America, conservatives, this is what you wanted. You wanted your soybean industry, your soybean crops to go to shit, because that's exactly what you wanted in his first term. Is that not what happened in Donald Trump's first term? You see, MAGA, you see people, we always seem to forget that we got a whole 4 years of Donald Trump to evaluate before we got here. But yet so many of y'all around the country was acting like, oh, this is the first time doing this shit. Y'all remember in Donald Trump's first term, the USMCA trade agreement? That was supposed to fix NAFTA. Remember? He solved that problem. He solved the tariff problem and the trade problems with Canada and Mexico specifically. I guess not. I guess that was just a lie too. I guess he was just joking about that too, huh? Y'all remember the global trade war that he lost, the trade war he lost against China in his first term? Good evening. I am the single one. Y'all remember that trade war he lost in his first term against China? By the way, that's why the soybean farmers, that's why y'all was losing y'all crap. And now guess what? Y'all lost it again to the tune of $12 billion last year, 2025. That's how much y'all lost. Oh, by the way, what country took that business away from you guys? Argentina. So, and remember, guys, farming isn't just all right. There's different farm. You got cattle ranches, you got the more agriculture, you got dairy farms, you got all these different things. And it was like he specifically screwed those industries over. Now you hear the farmers talking about, oh man, we don't want to bail out. We want our business back. Damn, man, you had your businesses under Biden. You made $24 billion from Biden. You went from $24 billion profit to a $12 billion loss in a year. Where'd they cover that in The Art of the Deal? What chapter is that? What page can you tell me where it's strategically smart to go from a $24 billion profit to a $12 billion loss. Nah, man, I'm just loyal, bro. I love my Browns. What can I say? What can I say? So let's and then the trade and all of this is under this tariff, this trade war nonsense. Again, the emergency tariffs that the Supreme Court walked it back. Guys, look up the statistics. We are at a record number of small businesses filing for bankruptcy. Ever since Liberation Day. What was Liberation Day, guys? April 2nd, 2025. That's the day he dropped that global trade war. We started tariffing penguins and shit. It has been a non-stop shit show. Affordability for all of our has only gotten worse. Our reputation around the world continues to tank. Prices continue to escalate. Guys, go look at your housing market right now. Go take a trip down Realtor and Trulia and Zillow and all these different places. We now went from a housing shortage to a housing surplus. Here's the problem. Most Americans can't afford to get into the homes now. You either got rundown pieces of trash or these entry luxury level homes they've been building up that, as I know y'all see them, some of these brand new construction homes can't even pass inspection. Already falling apart. Ain't even been 5-10 years. And we haven't done anything about corporations buying up the single family homes. We haven't done anything about trying to build more affordable housing. Because let's be clear, there shouldn't be an average price of $400K. It really shouldn't. Right? But think about it, guys. The mortgage rate has kind of climbed down. It's down to like, I think 6%, 5.7, something like that. We got the inventory, but again, the prices are still sky high. The income that our fellow Americans is not matching that. And oh yeah, we are losing jobs. On top of everything else, we got AI right around the corner. And guys, it is about to change our society in all the wrong ways imaginable. Our tech overlords used to at least pretend that back in the day, the technology was going to make everything better. It's going to make life easier. How you doing, Prince Anton? It was going to make life easier, right? Hey, nobody got to work that hard. Right? Technology, man, you're going to be able to spend time with your family more. You're still going to get paid the same, but have to work less. You're going to have less injuries in the workplace, all of these different things, right? And yet, America, what has happened? 60, 80-hour work weeks are the norm. Lost in translation, my bro was good, man. 80-hour work weeks are the norm. If you're a dad wanting to try to raise your family, how do you raise your family and be around your kids if you're never at home? What is the message that you're actually sending your family, your wife and kids that you ask for? Hey, yeah, the best way for my dad to be part of the family is to not actually be here. The best way for my dad to take care of our family is to never be at home. I thought technology was supposed to solve that. Right now, never mind the fact Guys, y'all remember it used to be a privilege to even whine about immigrants or people overseas taking our jobs. Y'all see how quickly conservatives just stop whining about the H1B workers, right? Because now we getting replaced by people that or by entities don't need a smoke break, don't need a bathroom break. They're not going to ask you for a raise. They're not going to ask you for time off so they could go see their kids' soccer game. These corporations are happily, voluntarily, with a smile on their face, telling you to train your AI replacement. And so, where is all these displaced workers supposed to go? Did our president seem like he gave a shit about any of that last night? No. You know what he cared about? He cared about, once again, fear mongering about the migrants, saber rattling against Iran, and just nonstop bullshit. Y'all know, oh, for some of y'all who don't know me, I was in the military for 8 years, active duty. I got 2 deployments, 27 months total in Iraq. I love when my guys get honored by any president. I want to be clear. All them dudes that got honored by President Trump yesterday. What's also true is that was forced and it felt hollow as hell because the State of the Union is literally supposed to be about that, not a glorified pageantry. All we got last night, we got 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of whatever minor accomplishments he might have mentioned, and then just a whole bunch of grievance after that. And so I asked the question again to anybody, man, like, are you really satisfied with the state of the country? If you were to drop today, if you were to drop within the month, are you confident in this country moving forward? Are you confident that your family will figure it out, that this country will still be or become functional again? Or if you actually think about it, is there a lot of crap we need to solve in this country to get it functional before you even get any sort of warm and fuzzy? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't see any of that. Where's the infrastructure bills? I see a bunch of dismantling. I don't see a bunch of building and creating. I agree with conservatives that our education system in this country absolutely needed to be rebuilt. When are we going to start rebuilding it? Right? Y'all told me Doge was supposed to cut all of this bloat, all of this federal bureaucracy. Then park rangers started getting fired. And then nurses started getting fired at the VA. And then we realized that the federal government, you fired a bunch of people that actually provide service. You didn't fire any of the actual unelected bureaucrats that make our country the way it is. Oh, that's right. Because the Americans don't actually know what an unelected bureaucrat is. Guys, you know what an unelected bureaucrat in the federal government is? Kristi Noem, aka Ice Barbie. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Your health secretary, Secretary, RFK Jr., right? Your Treasury Secretary, Scott Bensett or Howard Lutnick, one of them two. So how do you expect the president to get rid of unelected bureaucrats? It's literally his job to appoint to government. But this goes to the fact that a lot of our fellow Americans can't read. A lot of our fellow Americans lack critical thinking skills. A lot of our fellow Americans are very passionate about topics they just don't know anything about. Because if you was really worried about bloat from the federal government, you'd be demanding the Pentagon pass an audit. You'd be demanding them find out where the $2 trillion sitting at. You was really worried about the federal government, you'd be worried about all these military campaigns we got started right now. Y'all know the soft power techniques, that costs a lot less. Diplomacy, the embassies, all those sort of things, whether you like it or not, that costs us a lot less money over time and is actually more effective. But no, instead we're gonna talk about, all 200 transgendered people that live in this country. Right? We got to make sure the minors aren't getting surgeries, despite the fact that they aren't getting surgeries. Y'all hear all the fear mongering with the voting, the SAVE Act? Guys, do y'all not understand that when you had to go register to vote, you had to show your ID, your SS, birth certificate, something? And then when you go and vote, you have to show your ID. So this SAVE Act that that Trump and the Republicans are whining about, Trump is demanding that Congress pass a law to enforce the law that's already on the books. Does that sound efficient to you guys? Does that sound like something that's going to make our country better? Redundant policies. And so, man, I'm going to open it up. Y'all can pop up if y'all want. Please, we could talk about all of that. But I don't know, man. I'm really worried about the state of our country. Like the dude, man, he literally went up there, guys, and trashed his own Supreme Court. He really got up there, trashed his own Supreme Court to their face, despite the fact that the Supreme Court has given him win after win after win. On top of him giving Trump the biggest win, and when he wasn't even president, they gave him immunity in 2024. But y'all see the kind of person Trump is, that none of that matters. It does not matter any sort of the great things you do with him. All it takes is one disagreement, one opposition. All of a sudden, you're part of the deep state. All of a sudden, they're a bunch of rhinos. All of a sudden, what is it? 2 or 3 of them are his appointees. That Amy Corbett, Kavanaugh, those are his appointees. No, they suck. Apparently, they're activist judges now. Right? And so we need to go ahead and talk about this. I know when we all on these other panels, y'all be having nothing but smoke for me. Y'all love coming up and arguing. Let's argue now. I mean, oh my God, we still ain't even gone into the Epstein files. I know y'all don't want any smoke about that conversation because this dude promised to release the files. And now look what we got. FBI Director Kash Patel flying his country music singer all over the country, right? Partying with the hockey team. You got the Attorney General talking about the stock market hitting freaking 50K when we're talking about the sex trafficking of minors. The files have been supposed to be released unredacted. They've been redacted. Guys, they covered up the names of the conspirators, and didn't cover up the names of the actual victims. Where are you conservatives at? So many of y'all were cheerleading this shit on. And you know what I see in my little red county here in Ohio, man? I don't see, what I don't see, I don't see a lot of Trump flags anymore. I don't see shit on people's bumper sticker, posted up on people's houses. I don't see none of that shit. And I'm wondering why. Because for the longest, you guys have been claiming that this is exactly what you voted for. Y'all were happy that liberals like me was pissed the hell off. Remember, guys, y'all said, yo, that's a good thing. If it pisses off the libs, then that means it's the right policy. That means Trump's doing the right thing. Right, guys? Right, MAGA? Y'all remember saying that? No, Prince Anton. They were supposed to release the files unredacted of the co-conspirators, but they redacted the names of the co-conspirators. The SA victims, we know their names because they didn't redact that part. And they're now getting death threats. Perfect Diction, this is his last term. Yeah. But what does that mean? We still got 3 years of this, by the way. We still got 3 years of this. We still got 3 years, or we still got at least a year of the most unproductive Congress in U.S. history. Right? Y'all understand this Congress hasn't done shit except pass tax cuts, just like his last term. You know? But Teflon Don, Browns, yeah, look, we're gonna get there eventually. Eventually, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's Max Ray, yes, it's obvious cover up. I mean, obvious out the gate. I mean, oh, I have to wonder if some of the classified, y'all remember in 2021 after January 6th and Donald Trump, right, decided to go back to Mar-a-Lago and all that. And we found out that he took all those classified documents with him, right? I can't help but wonder if some other files dealing with Epstein was part of that. Because our conservative brethren likes to forget that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and died in 2019 under Donald Trump's first term. Donald Trump was president. He had his handpicked attorney general, William Barr, right? He had his handpicked CIA director. He had his handpicked FBI director. He had a whole year and a half, including all the chaos dealing with the COVID pandemic, to get rid of as much evidence as possible. But yeah, 4 years. You hear people say, well, it was 4 years under Biden. Yeah, when Biden took over, we was in the midst of a pandemic. Nobody was talking about Epstein, not even conservatives. And at the end of the day, guess who's in charge right now? And guess who's actively covering up the sex trafficking of minors by pedophiles right now? Donald J. Trump. Right? That's the only reason I need to even hate the guy. Never mind that he was found liable for SA in 2024. Right? Like, I don't know. BMU says, what about Nicki Minaj? Oh man, you just told me about that, bro. Like, yo, was that on video? That would be that would be crazy. 8 says King of the AFC North Steelers. Man, y'all, hey. Y'all might be bums now with Mike Tomlin gone. 8 says for now on, you have to name your cabinet while running your campaign. Yo, straight up. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I wonder if we should start putting more qualifications on to becoming president of the United States other than just being 35 years old and a US citizen. Like, I really think that would be a good, like, you got to have your cabinet positions lined up for the most part. I'm talking at least 75% full. That would actually be a really good idea, 8. Like, if we break that down, like, yo, this is your cabinet. Who's going to be your secretary energy? Who's going to be running the EPA? Who's going to be running the CDC? Right? Who's going to be running the Department of Urban Development? And that would be very good. That, by the way, would also give a president a lot more credence for Congress for the argument for Congress to be like, look, I had this stacked up. I had this vision for what I want, where I want to take this country. The American people elected it. And so, yeah, Congress, we got to work together and get this agenda done. That would be that not only by raising the standard, you actually increase the functionality of our system. But instead, we're going the opposite direction. The standards have never been lowered. Guys, we have an influencer in charge of our FBI. Now, as we know, this is Black Men Unfiltered. And as Black and brown men, we are not the biggest fans of the FBI. That being said, it is a government agency nonetheless. It should be ran by somebody with a resume to operate the FBI. It should not be ran by a guy whose biggest claim to fame is being an influencer and hopping on Joe Rogan's podcast. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's my only time I ever heard of Kash Patel. Joe Rogan podcast, something about the Epstein files. Him And that Dan Bongino dude, by the way, out the FBI, back into the podcast world. That dude's another damn liar. Them dudes have been colossal disappointments on this issue dealing with Epstein. And guys, I was supposed to be up here talking about the State of the Union, but I mean, I guess I am talking about the State of the Union because it's all jacked up. We have to be in one of the most dysfunctional times in our history. The American people don't get along, which reflects our government because the people inside our government don't get along. We still try to speak about foreign policies as American people from the standpoint of like American exceptionalism and all this nonsense. Guys, our country right now, let's be clear, it's infrastructure-wise a piece of shit. Do you know why there's so many trade imbalances with other countries? Because other countries don't want our shit. If you're living in Europe, why would you want a gas guzzling American vehicle that doesn't even fit on the roads? But yet somehow it makes sense to punish the consumer overseas because they don't want to buy our products. Somehow, right? Like it really isn't anyone's fault but Americans for why we demand Japanese vehicles or European vehicles. Maybe if the American vehicles weren't shit, it'd be a lot easier to sustain our industry. Hey, Sharice. I mean, guys, think about this. Y'all remember when our auto corporations said they was going overseas to China, Mexico, Canada? We was supposed to be saving, right? They was passing the savings on the consumer. Go look up how much your quad cab or crew cab pickup truck costs. Go tell me if you're saving any money right now. Tell me how much you're saving right now. And I know somebody gonna be lying because again, when we go look up the stats, guys, why is the average car payment creeping up to $1,000 a month? If I told y'all 5-10 years ago that I had $1,000 car payment, y'all would probably look at me and be like, man, that shit better be a supercar or close to it. But when you look at people today and they got $1,000 payment, they be having $1,000 payment on a used pickup truck. They be having $1,000 payment on some giant ass SUV. And they got a family of 3. You know what I mean? And it's not even a nice luxury sedan, nice luxury SUV, nice luxury pickup truck. These be mid-level. These be mid-level tiers, guys. And you see, competition-wise, y'all need to go look up that Chinese auto company, BYD. There is a reason our American auto manufacturers, guys, do not want them coming here in America because there's not a bailout we could give them that would have them survive that. Those cars, and I say this as a red-blooded American, those Chinese cars over there are whooping our cars' asses. We do not compete in America. Our businesses do not compete in America anymore because we can't compete. And I have to wonder if the people running our business that call themselves businessmen know how to compete. Because you go look over at China, they cities actually look like the technology, they use the technology that gets developed. It looks futuristic. They're doing big ass engineering products. Like, guys, sometimes you do a big ass engineering product just to flex on people, just to be like, yo, we did this because we America and because we can. right? You got some of them guys like in Denmark or in China, they doing these big engineering, like getting bridges over mountains and shit, or like huge bodies of water. And they don't really, I mean, there's a need, but they don't really have to do it. But guess what? Boy, the national pride that comes when that shit's completed and it works, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. Not here in America, though. Here in America, it is a left or right issue about whether or not government should do its basic job, like repair our highways, keep our bridges in good shape, keep our infrastructure in tip-top shape, and you know, ahead and use advanced technology to always increase our quality of life. That is the basic role of government, but yet here in America, that becomes a dividing issue. Prince Anton, majority of the car manufacturers are getting rid of standard economy vehicles in their lineup. Yep. That bro, they putting V8s and everything now. Y'all see the Trump administration trying to roll back a lot of the regulations dealing with fuel efficiency and everything. And I want to be clear, guys. There's sometimes with those rules, I get it. It seems overbearing, and sometimes they are like, I think California specifically with some of their regulations, how they really hate, like they really be going hard in the paint against the car community, like the guys who like modding their cars and stuff. Like that gets stupid. But overall, the point is to have both in our country. We're supposed to have all of the options available to us, not just some of the options, because our car manufacturers are scared of competition. We're supposed to have standard economy vehicles, mid-tier vehicles, luxury vehicles, normal ICE engines, hybrids, and EVs. But new technology, advanced technology, green technology, you know, that's weak liberal shit. That's beta male cuckboy shit. Who cares if it ain't no supercharged V8? I don't care if it don't go off like a rocket in a straight line. I don't care that every time I turn on my car, I see and drive off, I see the gas needle move. But that's because part of the problem, obviously, is the corporation. The other big part of the problem, again, is us, the people. We be demanding all the wrong shit. If we actually had our foot on government's neck like we're supposed to, we would have been had high-speed rail in this country. We would have been had a lot of public transportation in this country. We are so car focused, and yet we even car focused in metro areas that are crowded as hell, to the point where every single every single city in the country is clogged up in traffic jams, man, because we can't be bothered to walk anywhere. And then on top of that, think about it, guys. We don't want to walk anywhere. We stuck in traffic, and then you decide to buy a vehicle that's a gas guzzler, knowing you're going to be stuck in traffic after time. You know, and so it's one part of these corporations absolutely playing in our face, and the other part's going, why wouldn't you? If we're going to be that dumb about it, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't it? It's easy money. But, you know what I mean? That a lot to go into that, man. Hey, you suck. I ain't making fun of your Chevy Equinox, bro. As long as it works, it works. You know what I mean? Real quick before we go to the video, guys, your cars, by the way, keep them. Stop. Don't try to get any of these newer vehicles. All right. Some of these car companies are making y'all try to subscribe for heated seats. Right? A lot of these cars coming out today are just big ass surveillance vehicles. That's all they are, surveillance vehicles. I say 2020 and under, guys. Y'all guys got them rides, keep them. Keep them and just learn how to repair them, man. But BMU, yeah, let's play this video, bro. And let's see what we got going on. I can't wait to see this video.
We happened to be here at the right time. That's all that was. But we thank God for the strength and courage and grit and devotion of Black Americans who have helped make America the most powerful country in the history of the world. We now have, and you saw that with our attack a few weeks ago on Venezuela. We have the greatest military in the world. We make the greatest equipment in the world. There's nobody even close. Nearly 10,000 African Americans fought for the Patriot cause in the Revolutionary War. Did you know that? 10,000, and it's actually a number even, I've heard even higher than that, helping secure our independence in every generation since, from the Buffalo Soldiers to the Tuskegee Airmen. Black Americans have stepped forward to defend the flag and to defend our country like few others, really, like few others. And you've never really been given the recognition that you should get for that. You know that, Ben? They never, I don't think a lot of people have given the kind of recognition, but everyone knows all about the Tuskegee Airmen. They were great and amazing. The Buffalo Soldiers, you know the Buffalo Soldiers? Good stuff, right? From jazz to the blues, that you know, that you do get recognition for. Jazz, the blues, from rock and roll to rap, Black artists like Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters. How about Nicki Minaj? Do we love Nicki Minaj? Right? I love Nicki Minaj. She was here a couple of weeks ago. She's so beautiful. Her skin's so beautiful. I said, Nicki is so beautiful. Her nails are like that long. I said, Nicki, are they real? She said, she didn't want to get into that. But she was so beautiful and so great. And she gets it, you know, more importantly, frankly, she gets it. But Black leaders from Frederick Douglass to Martin Luther King, right? Little relative over here, have made our country freer, and really what they've really done is made life more just. And Black athletes have inspired billions around the globe, from Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard also, by the way, great, what a great fighter. Muhammad Ali, who was a friend of mine. I put a picture of myself and Muhammad. It was another piece of work. You talk about a piece of work. But he could fight, couldn't he? Huh? Mike Tyson, boy, I tell you, Mike has been loyal to me. Whenever they come out, they say, Trump's a racist. You know, it's like a statement. Trump's a racist. Mike Tyson goes, he's not a racist. He's my friend. He's been there from the beginning, good times and bad. But Mike Tyson's a great guy, and he was so loyal, always been loyal. And Herschel Walker, speaking about loyal, how good a football player was Herschel? Herschel Walker, now he's ambassador to the Bahamas. I don't know, Bahamas, Bermuda. Is he Bahamas? Whatever. It's nice, a nice place. You'd like that, Bruce, wouldn't you? Bruce wants it. And a guy that became really, he liked Trump, Jim Brown. He was tough. He'd come in, he was very silent. He was silent but deadly. He'd come in and he'd look at people, and if he didn't like them, he'd just look at me and he'd go, no good. He wanted to rip their heart out. I would say there can't be a greater football player than Jim Brown. By the way, Lawrence Taylor, great friend. The great Lawrence Taylor, the greatest defensive player probably in the history of football. He's a great friend of mine. And but I'm longer off the tee than him. You know why? Because I take the club back further. He takes the club back this far, and he hits it 200 yards. When you can do that, you're strong. He is a great guy, I'll tell you that. And all of this is a part of the legacy that we celebrate on July 4th, 2026, because Black History Month is really all about American history. And this is a big year. This is a big year for you. During my first term, I was honored to deliver unprecedented victories for Black Americans and all Americans, frankly. But Black Americans, I single-handedly secured record long-term funding for. I told you the historically Black colleges and universities. I created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones with our great secretary. And also, I think we have to do, and as I said before, Tim Scott really, he came to me with that idea, and we put it into use, right, Scott? And I signed historic criminal justice reform into law. We got criminal justice reform. Just so you know, for 30 years, you, more than any other group of people, has been trying to get criminal justice reform, and they couldn't do it. And a group of people came to my office, and they asked me to do it. They couldn't get it. They needed 5 conservative votes in the Senate, and conservative was 5 conservative white votes in the Senate. And of the 5, all 5 of them were totally against. And I called them up, and they were great. They were great. And one of them was Senator John Kennedy, to be honest with you. He was not in favor of it. And I spoke to him, and he was 100%. He's a great senator, a great guy. And you know that he was a tremendous help. So we got criminal.
Man, it almost sounds good until you realize close to 600,000 Black women specifically have lost their jobs since this man has came into office. And BMU, that part about Nicki, man, you know what's crazy, man? I really like Nicki Minaj, or I liked her music. It says something. I get people try to do something to try to secure, you know, their future or whatever. But she really only doing this because you're a visa holder. You're not a citizen. Then on top of that, your man is an offender. And you got family members. That's an offender. They all just love being around each other. You know, and I just, y'all, this is insane. Uncle Tom, yeah, man. I was probably just gonna be up here first show by myself. I mean, if anybody want to come up, they can, but typically I was just gonna be doing this. Corn 1999, yeah, man. Y'all remember a couple of days ago he cleared out the Oval Office because unfortunately he had an accident and screwing up the place. Prince Anton, I'm seeing more cars getting repossessed in the last few weeks than in the last decade. Yeah, man. Repossessions through the roof. Yeah, car loan defaults. My bad. Yeah, that's what they call the car loan defaults. Sky high. Sky high. JT, What We Know podcast was good, man. Mr. Bennett Paul was good. Yeah, Prince. He couldn't name the HBCU in Washington. Yeah. And you know what? I try to be balanced when I can. He has absolutely tried to do his thing when it comes to taking care of HBCUs specifically. You know, that specific thing can't really hate on him about. You know what I mean? RT, Trump is the best president in modern history. I mean, yeah, in an alternate universe. But imagine thinking the guy covering up sex trafficking of minors, who he himself is all up in the files, is somehow the best president in modern history. If that is even remotely true, this entire country needs to be broken down and rebuilt. Because ill. But of course, that's not true, RT. He isn't the best president in modern history. It ain't even close. Thankfully, hopefully, we ain't got to worry about that. But there's a lot of restructuring that we got to do in this country. There's a lot of things we got to change. Because, again, somebody's lying. People out here losing their jobs. People out here defaulting on card notes. People increasingly can't afford rent, never mind buying a house. We have, what guys I think they call a K-shaped economy, right? All the people with bread, they're doing all the spending. Y'all know that, right? The top 10% of our country is responsible for almost 50% of consumer spending in our country. That's bad. Seeing as though 10% already own more than 50% of all the wealth in this country. So the economic data, folks, is being sustained by the few. Which goes back to the State of the Union speech. That's what all his message was about. It was, let's highlight the few and next to nothing when it comes to the many. And a lot of some of you guys think, well, I'm on the right side of that. I'm a benefit from it, or it's not going to affect me. Okay.
This is America.
You say that now, man. But yep, this is all I really wanted to talk about. This, again, this first show up here. Just trying to get a handle on it, just trying to get some consistency and some comfortability up here. But I really appreciate it, man. I'm glad for everybody that came through tonight. I like to try to keep my shows a little bit short anyway. And so I'm really, really happy I did this, man.
You should be ashamed of yourself not standing.
Yeah, y'all should be ashamed of yourself for not bootlicking. Oh, man. Mike Rivera telling the truth. I hear you, man. Just be trying. No, Trump is not, y'all better stop that, man. Trump is going to take this country to hell. To hell, guys. You know what I mean? And we actually got to come up here and speak about the direction that we wanted to, because we as guys, we're the ones who's going to come up here and have the influence to change. Who do you go through for your fent? Not on fent, you mean the other stuff like weed? I go to the dispensary. Yeah, JT, chop it up next week. Hopefully I got some better structure than what happening. You know what I mean? But we're going to have to discuss these things, folks, because what are you doing in your own household to even get ready? Through for your fit? What fit? I don't know. So for example, guys, you know what helps with being, infrastructure, getting your household ready, sustainability, things like solar panels, things like geothermal heating and cooling, right? Having an EV, having things so you're a lot less reliant on one commodity, right? So like, for example, it would have been nice for everybody to keep that 30% green tax credit. You get 30% off of the solar panels, right? 30% tax deduction off the solar panels if you put it up on your home, right? And yeah, it's a little bit pricey up front until your electric bill's like $10 a month. And the only reason why it's $10 a month is because of this dumbass connection fee, right? But now think about it. You got panels on your home. You're now at the very minimum generating your own electricity. So you're getting close to a net zero. Your electric bill's low. That's more money in your pocket. And now guess what? You probably still got a gas vehicle, but you're not spending that much on gas anymore. Right? Your EV, by the way, is being charged with electricity that you're generating. Right? Things like the geothermal heating and cooling, I know it tends to be a big operation or a big investment, but that's literally using the ground to heat up your own house. Right? These are the sort of programs that we need to be pushing for people to get into. Right? Having affordable housing options and then what would be cool is if you can pair that with a panel package on top of the house already. Right? So that people are going into situations not stressed out, or at least not as stressed out. You know what I mean? But right now everything costs too much. And electricity costs too much. Gas costs too much. The water bill costs too much. And yet, are we getting any sort of nuclear reactors built? Nope. He keep talking about clean coal and shit like that. Like coal is on the decline and has been on the decline. For certain coal to produce, to even dig it out, costs more than it's worth on the market. But if you want things like that as a backup, sure. You got coal, you got nuclear, you got solar, you got wind, you got hydro, you got all these different things that all these other countries are using and have at their disposal. And yet we got the most money, all the technology, and we ain't doing none of that shit. We still relying on 30-year-old oil crap. I mean, think about it, guys. Trump went and bombed Venezuela, told the oil companies that he wanted to that they could have free access to it, and they didn't want to do it. Why? Because it would cost too much. And why would a corporation invest billions of dollars to modernize an infrastructure in a country that is a failed state? Venezuela is a failed state. And that's exactly what happened, guys. None of the oil companies are going to be building in Venezuela. And you know why? None of them had to, because right now, since under Biden, we have produced the most amount of oil in our history. And we will continue to produce a record amount of oil for the foreseeable future. But we cannot be overly reliant on one commodity. That is stupid. You see what happens to country like Venezuela, like Russia, when they're reliant on one commodity, and that commodity tanks in price. Right? Your economy's relying on one thing, like oil, and then there's a surplus of oil. Oops. Now what? Now You're creating policies and doing actions across the world in order to artificially raise the price of oil back. New Jersey has the largest ratio of solar panels than most states combined. And that's sad. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, that's good for New Jersey, but I think that's sad overall because New Jersey's not even close to being the biggest state. We got so many places or so many communities around the country that would be great for having roofs, solar panels on everybody's roofs, or at least like a solar farm somewhere, their own little private grid for the neighborhood and things like that. Something. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. You know, but I need everybody to think about that. And I need my guys to think about that specifically. Like, what are we doing to ensure that we have the opportunities and that our future children or our future children, future grandchildren have these opportunities to sustain themselves? Right now, guys, with everything going on, a lot of y'all kids, they're getting older, but they're not moving out. And it ain't got shit to do with laziness. It got to do with the fact that it's too expensive to get your own spot. But none of that's getting highlighted with Trump in the State of the Union. None of those real issues that Americans on both sides of the aisle are dealing with has been getting addressed. I know y'all see it when BMU does his show and he's showing y'all all the videos of just people in the streets acting crazy. And that is a sign of a country with no direction because of piss poor leadership. And so what are we going to do about that? That's what I want y'all to think about. What are we going to do about that? And what are you doing individually? I ain't talking about trying to talk to anybody or raising money or donating to some stranger. I'm talking about what are you doing in your own household to make sure that your household sustainable even in a situation that you're gone. And so that's what I want to leave you with, guys. This was fun. It was interesting. I'm glad I got a lot of this, be real. Got a lot of this off my chest, man. But it was good coming up here and getting my feet wet. So you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Peace.